Have you ever wanted to funnel the opposition's play on Football Manager into an area where your team is waiting to win the ball back? On today's show, I'm going to show you exactly how I do that using opposition instructions. Later, I will show you highlights from a game where you see how these opposition instructions work specifically with a certain tactic and one team instruction. Now, I've also used this on a live stream recently with Everton, and they were playing a low block system. Yes, a low block 5-2-2-1, and they managed to qualify for Europe. On top of that, they even beat Liverpool in the FA Cup final. So if you're eager to learn about how to use opposition instructions, then this video will be for you. There's going to be plenty of videos coming up on the channel really soon. One of them in particular will focus specifically on goal scoring and creating even more goal scoring chances with your tactic. But first, let's talk about opposition instructions. So first up, let's talk about getting to the opposition instructions page. Now, when you go to opposition instructions in your tactical page, you're going to be met with this page. Now, I generally only use this page in game, and that's if I want to target a specific player. The reason being, I think it's a bit buggy because I don't trust this page at all for the position instructions to stick. What I normally do is I go straight away to positions. When I go to positions and I start setting up my opposition instructions, they stick for every single game. And once I set them here by position, they will never change until I change the settings in this page again. So if your opposition instructions keep changing or they don't stick, try this method and it should work. Next, I'm going to explain on this page what this OI icon, this is the opposition instructions. Now, when you go to a match, you're probably going to be faced with this screen. Now, if you click the whole team, the button on the left applies to all players featuring this position. In other words, this is by position, this tab over here. If you highlight all the players and you click here, now this will apply to specific players playing in that position. So if a player called Dumitriu decides he's going to be a central defender on that day, he's just going to move here. But whatever opposition instructions you've applied to that player, they'll follow him. So if you told your players to hard tackle him, if he runs away into defense, your players will still hunt him down in defense and hard tackle that player. So how do these OIs actually work? Now, OIs work off a zonal system. Now, when a opposition player is given an opposition instruction, what you're basically telling your players to do is to apply that instruction whenever that opposition player enters their defensive zone. So if a winger from the opposition side enters the defensive zone of a central defender, then that central defender will apply whatever opposition instructions have been given to that position. So for example, if I am applying opposition instructions to this fullback's position, if this fullback enters any player zone, they will tight mark him, which is basically just getting closer to him. A trigger press is a different instruction. It means that if he makes a mistake with the ball, somebody's going to jump on him, whoever is closest in that zone. Same applies to tackling. But here, show onto foot is the most interesting instruction because this is the instruction that we are going to use to funnel play. Now, if you show someone to the left foot, if he's on the right flank, you're basically telling him to use his left foot. Now, when this happens, you are kind of trying to force him to play the ball inside. This might not work if the player has got too strong feet, but that's very rare in the game. So normally, this is one of the ways I use to funnel play. So if I wanted to, for example, I might have a tactic that is a 5-2-2-1, and I want all their wingbacks to be forced to play inside. What I would do is I would come in here to these fullback positions and show them onto the other foot opposite the flank they're on. So this wingback on the right, I will put him to the left foot, and I'll put this guy to the right foot. By this, what I'm doing is I'm influencing their play. Then what I could do in the center is hard tackle any central midfielder. This creates a problem. So here I'm funneling play on the fullbacks, and then I'm applying hard tackling in the center so that when they do get the pass away, that player in the center is going to be hard tackle. Sometimes what I actually do with my tactics, depending on the formation I'm using, like in this kind of formation, I love doing this. So what I end up doing is I trap inside. This can create problems for the opposition. And these opposition instructions actually give us a lot of options in the game to funnel play. On top of that, with the trap instructions, they become, a bit more accurate. But the danger to trap instructions is this: you're setting a trap. So you ideally don't want your own players, to be bombing up the pitch all the time. And if they bomb up the pitch all the time, what's the use of the trap if there's nobody there to hard tackle them? So you got to be really careful about the rules that you pick within the trap, making sure that those rules don't go missing when you need them to tackle someone. Opposition instructions will then give you lots of options with your tactics. Maybe you're playing a gegenpressing system with a 4-2-3-1. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, a great strategy would be to apply lots of pressure on their back line, something that I like to do. If you've noticed with Joey Go Smash, my 4-1-4-1. In that particular setup, I've got my OI set in a really different way. Here it's a lot more simpler. I'm just using the OIs not as a method to funnel play, but as a method to exact pressure. Remember that trigger press is about jumping on a player if he makes a mistake with the ball. It doesn't mean that these players are pressing more than normal. It just means you're paying more attention to that opposition position. If that opposition position plays a loose pass or it fails to control the ball really well, then you're triggering a press on him so your player gets closer. I double this up by hard tackling them. So now, if they make a mistake, my players are going to go in. They're going to make sure they come close to their player and tackle him if necessary. One other thing I like to do is specifically target an opposition player during the game itself, and this is when I will use the player setting, and it doesn't stick, right? So this will go away when I'm playing the next match. And for example, you might see yourself playing against an opposition playmaker who's creating lots of chances. Tight marking, hard tackling, showing him to a weaker foot is always a good idea. And sometimes you might think to yourself, you know what, that striker, let's make life a bit more difficult for him. Yeah, weaker foot has always been a great instruction. Many people have been using it for a long time. It seems to be the best one that can be. Sometimes you might face a team that's got a winger that keeps cutting inside and he's giving you a lot of nightmares because your central defender is being pulled out. Then what you do is you come in here and you say, okay, fine, show him to the right flank. Don't allow him to come inside. So opposition instructions can give you a bit of an edge in your games, and it's really important to understand how to use them. I'm going to show you highlights from a game where we are playing a 5-2-2-1 with a trap inside with opposition instructions applied. I want the opposition to play their ball inside. Why? Because I have 4 players in the center for that trap, and I intend to use those 4 players to win the ball back, and then that trap inside is going to be the source of my counter attacks too. We have the ball here. Okay, then we lost the ball. What do you think happens next? I've counter pressing on, right? So my players have got 20 seconds to win the ball back. All right, look at Pito, where his position. Okay, he immediately has got high aggression. This guy's in his zone, so he's chasing him all the way down. His back is turned. Right, to Pito, he doesn't see him coming, right? So boom, he goes in, accelerates, his aggression comes into play, he fights to win the ball back, and he gets himself involved into play. And guess what? It's our second goal. And that is why aggression is such an important attribute in your team. It's number 2, as we are playing a system that uses the trap inside instruction and the combination of OIs to basically force this 4-4-2 to play our style of football. Okay, I am toying with the idea of turning the advanced one into a pressing forward. Okay, here we go. Chuaku now. And to Costanzo, he plays a through ball. Pito almost gets inside. It's a corner. All right, we're going to change this role so we're not so rushed. I'm going to run the channels. And then we've got a shadow striker behind a poacher, which is going to be fun. All right, I put pressure. Yeah, okay, go inside. Yeah, okay. Go back. Okada. Look at how high our defensive line is. Okay, they go in and press, won the ball. Hard tackling in the center is going on. Thank you very much. Costanzo, bravo. Bravo shoots. The keeper has to make a save. Then you don't have to worry about a counter attack because if you lose the ball, you win the second ball. The goal is to win the second ball. Yeah. So if I lose the ball, I'm always looking at where where the second ball lands, and I make a change to my role or my duty, and sometimes my defensive line. Like just now, I changed my defensive line because I decided, we weren't really putting enough pressure on their back line, so I shifted our defensive line higher to put more pressure on them. Oh, good defending. Well done. So far, they haven't been given too many opportunities. Every time they go through the middle, they struggle a bit. Yeah. Encouraging them to come inside, and then our players are all there waiting to tackle. So we go in there, and there we go. Another one. We're trapping them inside. Every time they look for a passing option, they're giving us the ball. They're giving us the ball. It's working. The trap inside is doing its job. You want to kind of force the AI into how you want them to play. So, and we've done it. We forced the AI into playing exactly the kind of football we want them to play. Give us the ball. That's what they've done. Smith goes into the area, looks for options. It's a brilliant third. Jacobs finally scores the first goal of the season. Oh man, this is lovely. I'm enjoying this game. It's like the AI is giving me the ball. I don't have to work too hard for it. That's one of the reasons why we dropped the balance mentality. We don't need to, you know, aggravate the situation anymore. And I even stopped play pass into space because they're giving me the ball. Look at where they're going. Okay, all right, they managed to get it out. And there we go. Again, they're told to go into the center and they play the ball in the center. And every time, even if it's a loose ball, my players get back. And this is why aggression is important. You want your players fighting for every ball. If your players have no aggression, I tell you what will happen. Your players are just going to like, yeah, you know what, we'll wait until Monday, wait for another day, ask somebody else to do it. Your Boa out of the Croix looks for options. He chips one. You play for corners? Hey, yeah, okay. I don't know. We don't have to play for. Hey, just giving us the ball. Thank you very much. Yeah, we love you, man. You fell for my trap. The trap worked brilliantly. Oh yeah, cause he's in. Cause he makes it 4. They fell for the trap and they gave us another goal. What can I say, Schalke? You're playing my game for me. We can even afford to be on balance and take our pass into space as everyone realizes that's what they're doing. I wanted to keep this video short because opposition instructions are not complicated. They're actually very easy to use and you can apply them to lots of tactics. So maybe you want to use a 4-1-3-2 and you decide, well, I'm going to funnel play into the middle where my players are going to win the ball back. Very good because you got 3 players in the center who are ideally positioned to, win the ball back, and it's great to trap them inside, funnel play inside with the opposition instructions and then hit them with the counter from the middle as well. It's brilliant. You can even do the same thing by trapping a team outside and then encouraging them to come down the flanks. Then your counter attacks will also come down the flanks. It's amazing what you can do with opposition instructions. Yes, with the traps, it becomes better. But the challenge with the traps has always been, do you have players there who can win the ball back? Because if the trap doesn't have roles and duties there that can win the ball back, then the trap is a really dangerous one that may backfire on you. So if you are intending to use traps in your game, be very careful. My recommendation, start with opposition instructions, learn how to funnel play, then become a bit more adventurous with traps. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Once again, let me know whether you do use opposition instructions a lot in your game. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Meanwhile, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves. I'll see you all very, very soon.